What's up, guys? So today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to add to our how-to playlist. Stick around. What's up, guys? So welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do something a little different. I always talk about I don't have time to do anything. It's because I have so much going on. I've never really explained. So I have an active row crop farm, and we raise our own produce. So, you know, in the fall we're canning, but we also sell at the farmer's market. We raise chickens, we produce eggs, which we sell locally, and we produce honey, which I've seen the bees and all that. I'm also a UKC Master of Hounds and a competition coon hunter. Well, I also own S&T Farm and Auto, which was started with my best friend a few years ago, but he has since moved away and left it to me, and we work on small engines, small tractors. Have worked on some big tractors, but it's mainly small equipment. The guy across the road over here, back over here, actually has his own shop and works on big equipment. But today we're back at the shop. So anyway, that's why I stay so busy. I wear a lot of hats, and you know, always chasing the dollar. Got to keep hustling. But today we have a BX series Kubota. I am rather fond of Kubota equipment, so pretty well versed in working on Kubota. So locally, I'm about the only one that'll work on Kubotas. The closest dealer usually stays about 30 days behind-ish, and I only charge about 2/3 of what they charge an hour shop rate. So I stay pretty busy. But this machine is bogging down. Customer states loses power after about 10 minutes. Once it gets hot, fuel system gets hot, it starts losing power. They actually took it to the Kubota dealer. The Kubota dealer said the injector pump is failing, which matches the symptoms. Makes sense. Spent $1,000 just on diagnostic, and the injector pump was, I forget, $1,200–1,400. Well, they found an aftermarket injector pump, which I told them after they reached out to me, I could have rebuilt this injector pump for like $120 in parts. Probably, I don't know what I would have charged in labor. Probably just my hourly rate. It's a pretty straightforward pump, but they found an aftermarket pump for like $600. So we're going to swap the pump. If that fixes the problem, we're done. We'll move on. But I'm keeping the old pump. I'm probably going to rebuild it and then sell it. But either way, we're going to get this machine unloaded. It's a BX1880 Kubota. I love Kubota tractors. We're going to get the shop opened up, get this machine unloaded, and we'll tear into this pump, see what we can do. So, in case you've never worked on one of these before, I'm going to kind of walk you through the steps. This is by no means a full tutorial on how to do this, but these things are not real hard to work on. And there's tons of info out there on how to do it, but we're going to walk through kind of what we're going to do. So, this is your injector pump. You got 4 screws here and 2 in the back. These actually set on like a bushing, the back 2. So you've got return lines. Unhook your throttle. Close off your main fuel supply. Just use a hose clamp. Remove your fuel lines. Remove your injector supply lines. Take your 4 bolts out. The pump should come out. The new pump drops in. This is your bleeder. Hook your lines back up. Open your bleeder. Pump fuel through it. close it off, and there you go. Not a super complicated design. I don't know if you've ever actually seen how the pumps work. Oh, it got dark. I'm trying to open this new pump. So basically, we'll step back out here. Basically, these rollers, it's a 3-cylinder engine. They ride on the cam. They're spring loaded. They move up and down. They move a plunger. You've got the fuel rack right here that opens and closes the valve, determines how much fuel is pumped into the motor, and your outlets up here. Pretty simple design. So, oh, it's dark in there. I'm gonna turn some lights on. So we're gonna get everything set up, and I guess we're gonna get started. My battery just died, so I don't know if we lost all that footage or not, but if we did, here's where we are. So we got the pumps off. This is the old pump. This is the new pump. The only thing that's got to swap over is the supply line and bleeder valve. I think this is actually the bleeder valve right here, but we got to have this block. So anyway, it's 16006 is the part number. You can see open and closed. Oh, and I was telling you about that piece. See that notch in that lever right there? See, as you give it throttle, that opens it up. And then when you cut off fuel, you actuate the fuel rack right here. So what this does is basically this fuel rack moves back and forth as you give it throttle. You saw that linkage that moves inside there. These ride on the cam, they're rollers, and they're spring loaded. So you have like a piston right here, and then you have like a plunger with another piston sitting on top of it, and there's springs in here. So as you give it fuel and you open this fuel rack, it moves a pawn that rides in that internal shaft in there. So as the cam rotates and hits this and pumps this, it runs against this spring and this pumps that shaft in there. And however that shaft rotates on that pawn by where this is moved, so however far it's rotated is basically how far the valve is open to determine how much fuel can be pushed up, and it just basically puts pressure and pushes it out through the supply line. Pretty well that simple. So we got this off. We're going to break this down. I'm probably gonna conserve battery. I don't know. I might not. I don't know. I may have to put this in the vise. I'm not sure. But we're gonna take this dude apart and see where we're at from there. So I'm gonna try to keep my hands out of the way as we get this done. So there's a bleeder. And it has copper washers, top and bottom. We're going to run out here and hit this with some parts cleaner and get this cleaned up. Stuff don't have to be just super tight. So when you drop this back down in there, you have to make sure that this sits in that slot in that lever, because this is what will actually operate the whole assembly. Now, if you're rebuilding these, you would actually want to actuate that fuel cutoff to make sure that it cuts off fuel to the rag. You do that by seeing if it still squirts out the injectors. We're not going to rebuild this one, so that's not really a big concern. We're just going to make sure that it's indexed properly. I was talking about having to mark these so that everything's indexed, but we're not tearing it down. We are probably going to rebuild this one. So what we'll do is we'll take a paint pen and we'll mark, you know, each injector feed up here with the body about where it sits, just to make sure when we put it back in we index it correctly. Not really a big issue. Take these 4 screws out, take your fuel rack apart, remove this clip right here, it just pops out, and then you just take the pressure by pushing on that and pull these pins out, 3 pins, and that'll take this assembly apart. Once you take these off, the top half will come apart. Pretty simple assembly, not overly complex, but so we're gonna go see if we can get this back together. See, this whole job, I don't have my watch on, this whole job has not taken long at all. So there's a notch. We're just going to line the lever up on that notch and try to line that up in that notch, and hopefully just drop it in. I'm sure there's a torque spec on that. I don't know it. And honestly, I just don't know that it's that important. Hope not anyway. Basically, I'm just looking that it's seated. And it appears that it's seated, so. Alright, so the way you'll test this is you'll turn the ignition on and crank it over and see if we're squirting fuel out of the injectors. If we are squirting fuel out of the injectors, we'll also activate this and make sure we do not squirt fuel out of the injectors. Remember, that's our fuel shutoff. So, if we are, we'll crank it up and we'll see where we're at. That's got to be fixed. Huh. Alright. But I'm going to move the camera out of the way because I don't want this squirting fuel on the camera. Okay. It's fixed, I think. Alright, so the lift pump pulled the fuel up. So now we're going to turn it over and see if we get fuel squirting out the injector. Okay, we got good fuel on all 3 injectors. So now we're going to make sure that the fuel cutoff works. And the fuel cutoff works. So now we're going to hook the injector lines back up. reason it's important to make sure that shutoff is working, so when you cut the ignition off, you don't get a runaway diesel. Guess I should have covered that in the other part, but that's why we want that shutoff to work. Alright, I'm going to go put these tools on the workbench, and we'll come back and see if she starts. Well, here, take a look. It's the new pump installed and bled. Let's see if she cranks. Well, that's going to wrap up today's episode of I Fix Broke Junk. I'm going to get the service ticket wrote up, get it back on the trailer, and go deliver it. Probably stick around for a few minutes, make sure it runs good. But I think that was the problem. Either way, we have this pump that we may do another video on. We'll tear this pump down. I may order the kit. Like it says, like 120 bucks. I can make 120 bucks. So, we'll see. But I'm going to get this thing back on the trailer, get my tools put up, get my hands cleaned up, and we're going to go deliver a mini tractor and see if we know how to fix stuff. If we do, I'm not going to come back on. Remember, W Energy. Just 1 scoop of powder, fill the shaker up with water. Best energy drink money can buy. Far better than Monster. And if you use the code Beach Bluff Outdoors, you can take 10% off. We'll have everything down in the description. And Huel, if you want good meal replacements or meal substitutes, I've lost a lot of weight. I drink Huel once a day. I use W Energy during the day, no more Monster. And only eat once a day. I also do the daily greens first thing in the morning, and it works great. But if you use Beach Bluff Outdoors, you'll get 25% off. I'll put the links in the description, and we'll see you in the next video. Love you guys. Peace.